损失50%，要削弱对方的战斗能力。伊朗的导弹数量很多，也很壮观，动不动那个至少也要几百万美金啊。那这2天真的看到什么北树区，以色列北树区被打中啊，什么国防部大楼啦、摩萨德总部啊，打中以后，它的损失要花多少钱跟多少的力？
伊朗打到了哪里呢？以色列南部的城市，这个地方叫做巴尔谢巴。索罗卡医疗中心飞弹直接命中，据说呢，在命中之前，大家已经全部撤离了，所以并没有伤亡人数的详细报告。好奇哦，医院旁边有什么呢？来，这边最新的消息，其实医院旁边哦，有以色列的国防军指挥跟情报总部，还有呢，以色列的国防军的这个情报营，正好就在医院附近。
因为打那么远，要打很准哦，那个科技水平要很高，这个应该不是伊朗
1400公里。
对，目前呢，对擅长。它跟那个美国、中国、俄罗斯那种导弹打个2000公里，准度那个所谓 CEP 是吧？圆周都还在所谓10公尺、20公尺内，他大概没这个本事所以他可能是真的打错了真的打错。战损要削弱对方的战斗能力的才算战损比如说你发电厂啦、炼油厂啦或者什么变电所啦。那或者一些什么军事总部啊，其实这一段时间这几天已经4、5天了嘛。对，伊朗的导弹数量很多，也很壮观。你那个飞弹好可惜我每次看它动不动那个至少也要几百万美金啊，可是打不准的，很可惜。那相对的，以色列用轰炸的，对，因为轰炸的距离比较近的时候，而且又情报又很灵，所以科学家啦，重要的将军啦，还有这个什么浓缩铀啦、反应炉啊，都被打中了。对，
重要基地。
那打中的只是损害程度。我们战损在评估的时候，第一个就是有没有打中应该打中的地方，第二个就是打中以后，它的损失要花多少钱跟多少的时间去修复是从2种情形去评估这个战损报告。所以你经常还会讲说哪一个电厂被打中了，对，损失50%就是这种概念去推出来的是。那这2天真的只看到什么北树区，以色列北树区被打中啦，什么国防部大楼啦、摩萨德总部啊，他们可能弄错了。为什么？摩萨德的这个首长办公室早就搬去耶路撒冷了，
差很远呢，2座城市。
国防部长的办公室也搬去耶路撒冷了，所以我是觉得，伊朗的战损真的是比较吃亏了一点。对，那可能也是碍于这个那个情报不准，或者再加上导弹精准度不够。
We are facing the risk of a third world war, and I want everyone to ask themselves the question: for what? For what? There were scheduled to be negotiations between the United States and the Iranians, agreed to by the United States and the Iranians last Sunday. They were getting geared up for these negotiations to try diplomatically to resolve this. I want to remind people of something. Colin Powell, remember him many, many years ago, the first black Secretary of State, if I remember correctly. We're talking 2004, 20 years ago, was asked the question, is Iran developing a nuclear war that we have to worry about? And he answered, no, it's not. And if you look up this business about a nuclear war, it has been going on for at least 20 years. Every year or two, there's a flare-up. They're building a nuclear weapon. They haven't. They haven't got one now, and they didn't develop one in those 20 years. This is the old story of crying wolf. You keep doing that, and then no one will believe you. And most of the world doesn't believe it now either. Israel has wanted to bomb Iran for many years, particularly Mr. Netanyahu. I won't go into here, although everyone ought to. What are you doing if you're a country of 7-8 million Jewish members of Israel? The rest are Arabic. Very small country. Iran has 90 million. You get it? More than 10 times larger country. Israel is already warring on the people of Gaza and causing itself unspeakable damage for years to come. Why would you open a second war in another place, this time with someone who can fight back, which the Palestinians in Gaza could scarcely do? Wow. This is a craziness. This is self-destructive unless Mr. Netanyahu can count on the United States coming in. And if that were to happen, then where will Russia go, who has a defense treaty with Iran? And where will China go, who has a defense treaty with Russia? This is how World War I and II got going, when one country invaded another and then the alliances were called in. What in the world are people thinking? This is nuts. And the fact that there might be this much chance that Iran is somewhere near nuclear weapons, by this point, how much difference does that make? There are probably 20 countries that have some kind of nuclear weapons program. North Korea, we know, has it. Russia, China, we know, has it. France and Britain have it. Germany, likely going to get it soon. India has it. Pakistan has it. Come on. This is a matter of when, not whether. And Iran isn't the only one. We are being led down the garden path by people whose decision-making is off. The United States has gotten together with all kinds of dictators around the world, non-dictators around the world, seeming not to care what they were, except for internal publicity. We don't like dictators. Sure we don't. We are in bed with all of them. And we're in bed with some who aren't dictators. Well, then what is it that we are doing? Answer, we are protecting our interests, which is a polite way of saying we are taking care of the big oil companies who have interests around the world and the big, large corporations who have interests around the world. And that means supporting governments, whether they're dictators or not, that are friendly to American business, and smashing governments that are unfriendly. Indeed, the only change that has happened is the change since Vietnam. And that change is one that has to be spoken of honestly. In Vietnam, the United States lost. It lost the war. The enemy was the Communist Party of Indochina, of Vietnam, and that's what runs that country now. We were defeated, we invaded, we had hundreds of thousands of troops, they were defeated, they were driven out, and the Communist Party of Vietnam is now in charge of the government. That's what it means when you lose. A lesson was drawn from that, which is that even if you're the biggest, richest, most militarily developed country in the world, and you go to war against one of the poorest countries in the world, Vietnam, at that time, you can be defeated. And one of the ways you get defeated is that your own people back home become upset by the dead soldiers coming home, by all that implies, all the pain, all the suffering of the people who are hurt or killed or wounded or driven to suicide, which a large number of our soldiers were from that time. So the idea came, can we in the future try to minimize the American losses, the American involvement? Can we, to be blunt with you, can we find other people to fight our wars for us? And that's what we're living through now. We got the Ukrainians to fight the Russians since February of 2022. They're losing, but not American troops, not very many. And now we have Israel trying to do the same for us in Iran. Now, Ukraine is a small country, and it turns out Russia isn't. And it turns out that Ukraine, even with the support of the United States militarily and monetarily, and Europe, still can't win. That ought to teach another lesson, which it will, although we're not talking about that now. And Israel attacking Iran, there we go again. Somebody else doing what we would like to see done. And Mr. Trump, with his usual waffling back and forth, is moving in that direction, at least as of what the news is that I can study now. Not quite yet decided whether to commit American troops. And let me say, as an American citizen, born here, lived here all my life, worked here all my life, to this minute, Iran is a bigger, more powerful country than Vietnam was. And this is not going to be anything like the make-believe comic book discussions we have. And let me remind everyone as well, there are treaties, mutual defense treaties that we know of between Iran and Russia, and then again between Russia and China. Really? We're really going to risk a war whose outcome is the end of all of us, of the civilization we've created? If we're not literally wiped out as a species, we will be driven backwards in time in a way that ought to make everyone stop and sit down. Last thing, as recently as March of this year, Tulsi Gabbard, as the head of our intelligence operations in this country, responded to questions in the Congress by saying there was no immediate danger that Iran would even have a nuclear weapon, let alone the capacity to use it. And let's remember, if Iran did that, it would be alone. It would be at risk of damage far beyond anything Israel could or would do. That's our own intelligence leader. Afterwards, Mr. Trump contradicted her. And as do the people Mr. Trump has around him, she immediately said, oh no, she and he are on the same page, even though literally they said the opposite. So we don't know any more that we know that there's a tariff or not, because when he says it, it's one thing. What he will do now, we do not know. By the way, it is a peculiar kind of torture of the Iranian people, of the Israeli people, and of the American people to have questions that are vital to our survival in the hands of an individual who has demonstrated his instability over and over again. It's what we accept as a people tells you that either Mr. Trump is extraordinarily skilled in this up and down roller coaster, or the American people are extraordinarily passive in the face of it.
偷偷告诉大家，我最近发现了新法宝 Royal Face 逆时奇迹系列，它有活肤露、全效精华，还有精华霜。尤其我皮肤比较偏干，所以我非常的注重保湿。保湿做得好，肌肤自然丰润。提亮肤色更年轻，抚平皱纹超有感，而且气色变好。用心保养，每天都更美一点。美吧。